What's up, gamers? Today we're going to be talking about John Hancock and his false copy. Oh, hang on one sec. Hang on. Just 1 second. Now I'm a real YouTube gamer, guys. Okay, so welcome. Today we're going to be talking about John Hancock and his false copyright strikes, which is an abuse of the copyright system. I'm not 100% sure on the whole false copyright strike system, but I'm pretty sure that's against the rules, and I'm pretty sure that you can get your channel in a lot of trouble if you do that. So John issued a response this morning to, Review Tech USA, who basically called him out on the whole crowdfunding thing for his museum. And I've seen a lot of criticism in the last month, maybe last couple of months actually, of John Hancock. And personally, I've been a fan of the guy. I've watched a lot of his stuff. I always watched his videos because I thought they were more down to earth than a lot of the other overproduced, YouTubers, right? There's a lot of YouTubers who do reviews of products, you know, and they're very overproduced. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, I sort of like the whole you in YouTube aspect of YouTube. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Maybe I'm making no sense at all. Anyway, so I decided to film this video kind of because I watched his response and I kind of disagreed with a bunch of his points, trying to rationalize the whole false copyrights that he issued, right? Because this puts these people's channels in danger, and people work very hard on their channels. I mean, even our channel, we have, what, 700 subscribers? Maybe not even. And if someone came in from, out of left field who has like 1 million subs or even 500,000 and just bing, bang, boom, striked a bunch of our videos, we're gone. We're gone just like that. So him abusing the system honestly should get his channel in trouble. Let's move on from that point though, okay? So John, in his response video to Review Text, talks about how he has a full-time job. I call BS on that. Not that he doesn't have a full-time job, but that doesn't really excuse his actions, right? 90% of people have full-time jobs. So to say that is some rationale for what he did, his actions, is nonsense, right? And then he goes on and says, you know, he's taking care of his family and family first and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. Of course, family first. Take care of your health first. I don't think anyone would ever disagree with that. More, the issue is, what does that have to do with the copy strikes, right? Because you're putting these people's channels at risk that have put many hours into. So let's talk about a lot of the criticism he's been getting recently. A lot of it I think is a little unfair. People being really critical of, well, basically his game museum that he's got a plan to build, right? And whether that is like, you know, something that's gonna just appear at the what's that expo he goes to, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, is that it? Whether it's just going to appear there yearly or whether it's going to be an actual museum or not, nobody really knows. But I mean, honestly, who cares? I don't know why people want to jump down this guy's throat so much and jump down the throats of other people as well who are using, you know, Patreon and whatnot to try to help fund their production, right? I mean, I've seen a few videos by this fellow. I won't name him here just because I don't really want to give exposure to people who are negative on the platform, but essentially just berating pretty much anybody who uses Patreon or GoFundMe or whatever to try to get support for their channels, right? So whether they're using the membership feature on YouTube or Patreon or GoFundMe or whatever, those are all optional, right? Nobody is required to give to those. So when people come out and they're super hypercritical of, you know, John or other YouTubers who are using those services, I mean, I really do not understand it personally, because YouTube takes a lot of work. even the people who, just like me, who's sitting here talking to you, it takes a lot of work because you've got to film, you've got to edit, you've got to upload, make a thumbnail, etc., as well as just the time that you're taking out of your day to produce this content, even if it's just fluff content like what I'm doing here, right? I'm not doing anything super special. But I really don't understand why people are so hypercritical of Patreon or people looking for support, right? If people have fans who like what they produce, what's the problem if these people come and support the content? It's really none of your business, ultimately, right? These people who are super critical of it, it's really none of your business what they do. What other people do with their money is their choice, right? Yeah, I mean, that's just the way like the free market works. What they want to do with their money, supporting John or supporting Metal Jesus or I don't know if Angry Video Game Nerd does Patreon, but if he does, it's like, who cares? Let them do whatever they want. Let the people who are out there who want to support these people, support them, and who cares? Who cares? It's not really your business anyways. It's not my business either, right? But I'm just passing a comment on it. Anyways, let's move on. Now, about the museum stuff that John's doing, you know, he's had a lot of criticism about how, you know, maybe his museum is not ever really going to happen, and he's just kind of hoarding or stockpiling these games to his benefit, right? I know there's a clip out there somewhere where he basically said that he'd be willing to sell his collection if the right opportunity and the right amount of money was available, right? Now, considering a lot of people have donated games to him, I don't know whether they donated those games, and nobody knows whether they donated those games for the museum or just because they're fans of him. And really, that's none of our business either, right? It's like, if they did donate those games for use in the museum and John turns around and uses them to make a profit for himself and for his family, I call BS on that, right? But, I mean, if it's actually going to be used for the museum, that's a whole other thing, and that's maybe the reason these people gave the games. You know, I mean, maybe when people are donating games in the future, they should consider stating in their letters they write to him or whatever that, you know, this is for the museum. And John, if John won't watch this video anyways, but let's just say he did, I would say that, you know, if you were going to resell this collection, you should consider the fact that these people gave these things to be in a museum, not for you to make money off them, right? So if you are not going to be using it for a museum, you should consider giving them back to these people, because those people could sell it to get money to help themselves, right? Because, you know, John talks a little bit about how, you know, he's got to look out for his family first before YouTube and all that jazz. And it's like, yeah, but if you're going to be using those games to make money, then that's a whole other thing, right? If you're using those games to get ahead and help your family for whatever reason, then you got to think that these other people that donated those games could probably use those games to help their families too. So it's a little confusing. Okay, so John talks a little bit about he's having some health issues. Lots of people are having health issues. That's what happens as you age, right? I'm having health issues. Lots of people are having health issues. I really shouldn't even be filming this video. I have so many serious health issues, but it's like, whatever. I film the videos just to be able to occupy myself because I'm so consumed with my health issues that it's just like, well, at least there's something I can pour my energy into since I'm basically handicapped. But moving beyond that, just using health issues as an excuse is kind of frustrating, because it's not like he's not being upfront about what is going on. And we're not demanding, you know, expose yourself, tell us what health issue you have. But it's like, if you're going to say that, then I'm afraid you're going to have to elaborate a little bit. Like, is the health issue going to impact the fact that the museum's going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Basically, all of the museum criticism that he's getting is somewhat somewhat legitimate, somewhat over-exaggerated. I mean, ultimately, I'll tell you my personal opinion. Even if he doesn't do the museum, it's like, whatever. I really don't care. There's so many people out there that have giant video game collections that are really pointless. I mean, let's just say you're one of those guys who's got like 10,000 video games, 100,000 video games. I have maybe 100 behind me here. That's not that many, really. But let's just say you're one of those guys who has like 10,000 games, 100,000 games, whatever. You like Last Gamer or John or Metal Jesus, and you got games up the wazoo. It's like, congratulations, you're a hoarder. You're a hoarder. But it's like, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? It's not our business. And that's really, as much as it's sort of like hard to say that, but that's the truth. It's the truth, right? It's not our business. I know that some people get up in arms because it's the internet and it's like, what are we going to be outraged about this week? Ultimately, what these guys are doing with their collections, whether it's going to become a museum or whether it's just going to sit in their basements or their garage forever, it's not our business. And that's really what people should take from the whole John Hancock thing, from the whole outrage going on versus John Hancock thing. It's like, ultimately, who cares? It's not our business. It's not even Review Tech's business what's going on. It's just John Hancock's business, what he's doing with his games, his collection. My problem only comes with the whole way he reacted to criticism, right? If you're gonna react like that to criticism and start false copy striking people, you better know how fair use works, because someone could take you to court over that. You can get in a lot of legal trouble. But beyond that, you should understand the platform, right? YouTube operates on fair use. I mean, without fair use, we would literally only have like handy cam or like what I'm doing here, like just vlogs, right? Without fair use, you would have no reaction channels. You would have no, trailers posted and all that stuff, right? Video games and etc., etc., etc. News channels and etc. All of that is, within fair use. So if you're going to be false copy striking people, you better explain yourself why you did it, right? And have a legitimate reason why you did it. Not saying, well, I have a full-time job. BS. That's not a fair excuse for why you false copy strike people. You couldn't handle the criticism. Well, too bad. People are allowed to have opinions. Just like John is allowed to have an opinion, everyone is allowed to have an opinion. You're having medical issues? That's irrelevant. Yes, that sucks. I'm not heartless. It sucks to have medical issues. It really, really does. It hurts my soul that I'm going through medical issues, but it does not excuse false copyright strikes. Okay, the other thing that John talked about was criticism versus harassment, and I would say that he is receiving some harassment. I would say maybe he's struggling a little bit with the idea of what is harassment versus criticism, and I would say some people have legitimate criticism, like Review Tech, like I think was it JT Smash or something like that. Those are legitimate criticisms at calling into question what is John doing, why is he false copy striking people, what's he doing with all these donations he's accepting, etc., etc. Where it's harassment would be like a few other channels I've seen where they target the guy and just berate him, and Metal Jesus and a few other channels berating them, basically saying how, they're blank, curse words and etc., that they're scam artists. I don't believe that's the case at all. I believe that people are smart enough with their own money to be able to decide what they think is legitimate and what isn't. And that's why when you saw like the Metal Jesus thing where he wanted to get an RV and go around the United States, that it wasn't funded and there was a huge backlash. Whereas John trying to run a museum, there's not as much backlash because it's people legitimately want to help that, and if they're using their own money, it's not our business what they're doing with it, right? To bring it back on the issue of criticism versus harassment, yes, he has been the subject of some harassment, but we all have at some point. I mean, harassment is basically just bullying, right? And there's bullying everywhere. Bullying never stops. Bullying doesn't end in high school or whatever. Bullying exists forever. And sometimes some of the harassment or bullying or whatever you want to call it is people that are just jealous. And as the bigger man who's trying to run a museum, etc., you need to just kind of tune it out, because there's always going to be criticism. There's always going to be harassment, not harassment, but bullying. And people who are legitimately bullying you or harassing you, report those videos, right? Or report those tweets or whatever, those posts, right? Even like Twitter has a report, negative tweets, and YouTube, you can report it, etc. It's like, okay, these people who are harassing you is different than being critical of you, right? And you have to be able to separate the two. And when people are being critical of you, it's fine, right? Because you can be critical of them too. But if they're like being nasty and harassing you, report them. But you have to be very careful. It's a very what's the word? Thin line, that you can easily cross and start flagging videos inappropriately and get your channel in a lot of trouble. John's basically, the reason I'm even filming this now is because I am a tiny channel, and people like John scare people like me, because it's like, even this video, he could come along and copy strike this, right? Even though I'm not showing anything to do with him. So go ahead and try to copy strike me if you want. I'm not doing anything that's like showing his face or his content, even though there is a level of fair use that you should be respecting. We all know that YouTube doesn't like to get involved, but he would lose a court case, right? And lose a lot of money. So I don't know. I don't even know why I filmed this video to begin with, but that's essentially it. Those are my thoughts on John Hancock, his museum. Just let the guy do whatever he wants. Who cares? Build your museum, don't build your museum, but at least try to be a little honest about what the heck is going on. Now he says that he is going to build the museum, but it's going to take a long time, which means it could be 5-10 years off for all we know. He didn't give any sort of timeline or anything like that. So for all you know, it could be 10 years away. So at this point, you should just assume it's coming at some point. When, we don't know. But yeah, that's all there really is to say. My biggest criticism of John would just be the fact that he false flagged videos, right? That were legitimate criticism. And my issue with the people who are going after John is just, there's nothing wrong with people donating their games, their money, or whatever via Patreon or whatever other thing to show support for people who are producing content you like. It's no different than supporting a Twitch streamer or paying for cable TV. You pay for cable TV because you like the content. Just like you send a few dollars to try to help a streamer or a YouTuber who is producing content that you like. So ultimately, do what you want with your own money. It's your choice. Don't be intimidated by people, yelling at you from either side of the argument, I guess. Anyways, I don't even know why I filmed this video, but we'll catch you in the next vid. Take care, guys. Kenny G out.
Hey guys, this is Lydia. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a couple likes and a share. The likes are super important because every time you like, it gives our channel a bit more exposure. So please like. If you don't want to follow, at least like. Please, please, please. Also, if you want to chat, please leave a comment down below. Also, if you want to chat more frequently, we are on Twitch. The channel is called super_dorkalicious, and we stream pretty much daily, and we stream like video games, karaoke, fun stuff. So just pop on over to Twitch, super_dorkalicious, and definitely engage with us. So but for now, please like and share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.